And maybe the answer here is that this team was underseeded, but they won their 6 tournament games by an average of 20 points. They're now one of 6 programs all time to win 5 national championships. You see the Blue Bloods on your screen. UConn a perfect 5-0 in national title games. All 5 of those have come since 1999. That is the most of any team over that span. And so as Seth Greenberg wakes up with us early here after a late night in Houston, we'll go small picture and then we'll go big. Let's go small. What was the key moment in UConn's win last night, Coach?
In the first half, it was the 11 minutes they held San Diego State without a field goal. They were dominating defensively. They pushed San Diego State out. They limited them to 1 shot. They turned them over. They kept them out of the lane. And then when they got in the lane, their size, their length, their athleticism took over the game defensively. And then in the second half, Greeny, and you just talked about it. I mean, San Diego State made a run. And this is the thing about this UConn team. Every time someone made a little bit of a run, they had an answer. They were like they had a cheat sheet. They had the answer to every question. Jordan Hawkins coming off that handoff, boom, jumps up, knocks down that 3, game over. Dominated the game defensively in the first half. And when the game was on the line, one of the all-time best shooters at Connecticut. Obviously, you got Ray Allen. I used to tell you before the season, I thought that Jordan Hawkins had that same kind of release. Jordan Hawkins knocks down that big 3, and Connecticut wins their 5th national championship.
So this is the first time they even get out of the first weekend since 2014. And as I mentioned, they win all their games by a very comfortable margin. What does that say about the overall turnaround that this program has had under Dan Hurley?
Dan Hurley is a master program builder. I mean, if you think about what he did at St. Benedict's High School, at Wagner, at Rhode Island, and now at UConn, he sets a standard for everyone in the program. And he holds himself and everyone to the program to that standard. He's a terrific coach. He understands the value of not only collecting talent, putting together a team. And then think about what Dan Hurley's done. He's been able to recruit his geographic footprint, but to me, it's the energy, the passion, the enthusiasm that he brings each and every day. Great coach, great teacher, incredible in game preparation, but it's the standard that he holds everyone to and himself. To me, that's the difference. He's got a little Nick Saban in him.
That's a good thing to have a little of in you, I suppose, if you're a coach and looking to build a program quickly.
I would think so.
What do we say about the blueness of the blood, which has now become the expression here? I mean, we think of Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, et cetera. This program has now won 5 titles since 1999. That's the most of any of them. They've done it with multiple coaches, so sometimes it doesn't feel the same. What do we say about UConn's place in college basketball today?
They're at the very top of Blue Bloods right now. You know, they're in that conversation. Think about this. Since 99, they have more. Kentucky has 1 national championship. Kansas has 2. Carolina and Duke have 3 apiece. All right? UConn has 5. Has 5 in that same time frame. Overall, they have more national championships than Kansas. Connecticut, obviously the great architect, the GOAT, Jim Calhoun, what he created, Danny Hurley now, and they're going to be around for a while. This isn't a one-off, Greeny. This team's going to compete for a national championship pretty much as long as he's there.
All right, Uncle Seth, who has been good enough to get up with us morning after morning. Go play some golf. You have earned it after the last month and several months that you have had, and we will see you back here soon. Seth Greenberg, thank you as always. Sonogo was named the most outstanding player. Huskies 17-0 out of conference this year. In the tournament, their average win margin was 20 points a game. They played 120 minutes of second half action in this tournament. In those 2 hours, they trailed for less than 1 minute of game time. So that is something that we almost never see as Seth Greenberg jumps back with us here live from Houston. That kind of domination is something that we almost never see in the NCAA tournament. The immediate answer is that they were underseeded as a 4 seed, but even for the number 1 overall seed, you don't usually see that. How do we explain the way they ran roughshod through this tournament, Seth?
Yeah, they didn't even lose a non-conference game all season long. To me, they were dominant because they're the most complete team in college basketball, offensively and defensively. They could dominate you from the three. They could score at the rim. They could protect the rim. They could run you off the three. They could offensive rebound. But there were 2 plays in that game to me that defined, or 2 points in that game that defined the game in general. And that was, look, they held San Diego State without a field goal for 11 minutes. For 11 minutes, their ability to keep the ball in front, contest shots, limit San Diego State to 1 shot. That's absolutely unheard of in a Final Four championship game. And then when the game is on the line and San Diego State cuts it to 5 points, what does Jordan Hawkins do? He comes off the little handoff, jumps up, boom, knocks down that 3. Every time they were pushed just a little bit, they had all the answers to the quiz. They were dominating from start to finish.
And this is a program, look, we can talk about how blue their blood is. It's their 5th title since 1999. But this was a program that as recently as 5-6 years ago felt like it had really been on the decline. How did Dan Hurley get this team, this program, from where it was then to where it is now?
They lost in the first round last year to New Mexico State. I think Dan Hurley looked at himself a little bit and said, what can I do better? What I need to be better. I need to stand beside my team. And what he did, like even in the first round when they played Iona, close game at halftime, he walks in the locker room and says, we're fine. It's a 40-minute game. Stay true to our identity and stay true to our habits. But he's also set a standard. To me, the way they approach what they do, how hard they play, is a reflection of what they do each and every day. I go to their practices all the time. They are intense. They compete each and every play. The speed and the pace of their practices, and it starts with Dan Hurley's vision and what they do, how they do it, and them understanding why they do it. The pieces fit, guys play to the strengths. They're going to be around for a long time. As long as Dan Hurley's the coach at Connecticut, they're going to be competing for Final Fours and national championships. The tradition is there, the facility's there, the commitment's there, and his leadership and his vision and his ability to hold his players to a standard, second to none.
You know, it's interesting because when we talk about, again, the new term is the Blue Bloods. They've won 5 championships since '99. That's more than any other program. But the difference is they've done it with multiple coaches. We know Jim Calhoun will always be the architect of what they did there, but they've done it with 3 different coaches. We think of Kansas in this generation. You think of one coach. Duke, one coach. Carolina, now I guess they're on to their second coach, but mostly it was Roy Williams in the post-Dean Smith era. Kentucky with Calipari. But you could make an argument that this has actually been the most successful program in college basketball the last quarter century.
Look, Greedy, I agree with it. Since 1999, they've got 5 national championships. During that time period, Kentucky has 1. Duke and Carolina have 3 each. Kansas has 2. UConn has 5. If you look at the Blues to Bloods in that time frame, it's been Connecticut.
It's inappropriate. They wear blue, and their blood is blue, and they are the national champs again. Seth Greenberg, you were the best. Thank you for getting up early all these mornings. We will see you awfully soon, probably during the NBA playoffs. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.